Most contractors I talk to fall into one of two camps. Camp one is that they're spending 10, 15, 20 grand a month on marketing, and they have no idea if it's working. They just know the phone rings sometimes. And then we have camp two. They're spending almost nothing, but maybe a couple of $100 on some random website or SEO package that they don't even own, and they're wondering why they can't get off the referral hamster wheel. Both camps are actually losing money, and today I'm going to show you the exact math so you know precisely what to spend, where to spend it, and what kind of return to expect. So let's get into it. Now, before we dive in, let me tell you why I'm making this video. I run Builders of Authority. We're a marketing agency that offers a full slew of digital marketing services, and we work exclusively with contractors, roofers, painters, HVAC, plumbers, landscapers, the whole gamut. That's all we do all day, every day. And we also own some of our own home service businesses as well, and have exited one company already. Companies that we started from the ground up just with our digital marketing strategies. And so when I'm talking with contractors though, the number one question I get on calls, before we even talk about SEO, before we talk about ads, before anything, is, Adam, how much should I be spending? And I get it. Because when you Google that question or go to a random Facebook group and ask people, hey, what should I be spending on marketing? You're going to get garbage answers. It depends on your market. You'll get, I spend $0 and I'm doing X number of revenue. You'll get somewhere between 5 and 20%. None of that stuff is really helpful. That's a range so wide you could drive a dump truck through it. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you actual dollar amount ranges. I'm going to show you exactly what to expect. And I'm going to break it down by company size so you can find yourself in this and hopefully walk away with a real tangible plan. I want to start with the baseline of the industry benchmark. So there's a general rule of thumb across many different industries is that businesses should be somewhere between 7 and 10% of their gross revenue on marketing. That's the blanketed SBA recommendation. That's what most business coaches will hopefully tell you. But here's the thing is that contractors aren't all industries. Your business model is different. Your margins are different. Your customer acquisition looks different. Your location is different. So here's what I've seen work across hundreds of contracting clients. If you're an established contractor where you've been around for a while, you have a decent reputation, you're doing maybe $1 million, $2 million a year in revenue, then 5 to 10% of your revenue is probably going to be your range. At $1 million, or if you're a newer business, that's somewhere between $50,000 and $100,000 a year in marketing. That's roughly $4,000 to $8,000 a month. Now, if you're in growth mode, maybe you're trying to break into a new market, you're literally a new company, or you're trying to go from 500,000 to $1 million in 12 months, or from 1 to 3 million in a year span, you probably need to be closer to 10 to 12%. Now, I know that sounds aggressive, but think about it this way, is that you're investing in acquiring customers that are going to pay you back for years through referrals, potentially repeat business. So I want to give you a real world example. We have a roofing client doing about $1.5 million a year, and they spend about $8,000 a month on marketing as a whole between our management fee and the ad spend that goes into it, in addition to some other odd and end marketing activities that are out there. So it's roughly $96K for the year, which is about 6.4% of their revenue. And last year they grew by 40%. That investment in and of itself is paying for itself over and over and over again. That's why you need to have an actual plan with a strategy if you're trying to grow your business. And likely you do need to invest more in marketing, but you got to start with the end in mind of where your goal is at, and then reverse engineer the required ad spend in order to achieve that goal. So now you know the percentage, right, of the recommendations based on where you're at in business and whether you're in, hey, I'm just trying to gradually grow the company, or if I'm in scale, and growth. That doesn't help if you don't know where to put the money. So I want to break this down channel by channel. I'm going to give you 3 different tiers. So if you have a $3,000 a month budget, a $5,000 a month budget, and a $10,000 a month budget. So you can find the one that's going to be closest to you. If you're above that, right, then obviously there's more things that you can do, and we can have a conversation about that offline. But the $3,000 a month contractor, this is typically somebody that is spending $3,000 a month because they're between that $500K to $1 million a year in revenue, who's ready to get serious about marketing. So the first thing that I would do in terms of how we split this up is, of course, Google Business Profile, optimization, and management. This is foundational, and it's the highest ROI activity for local contractors. You need someone actively managing your Google Business Profile, getting reviews, and posting on a weekly basis, adding SEO optimized photos every single month, really focusing on your local business aspect as it relates to SEO. Now, with that, a couple of weeks ago, I launched our internal case study where 49% of all of our client leads are still coming from the Google Business Profile. So this one, again, has the highest opportunity of impact for your business. The next thing that you should be investing in is local SEO. Service area pages, location pages, service plus location pages, that type of content. Now, this is your long-term play. It's going to take 3 to 6 months to truly kick in, but once it does, it is pound for pound some of the best leads that you will find out there for the cheapest dollar amount. Because whether you get 1 phone call a month or you get 100 phone calls a month from SEO, there is no additional ad spend above and beyond a management fee. The next thing you should be doing as well is local service ads, also known as Google Guaranteed. It is the fastest way to get leads as a contractor in 2026. They show up above everything else on Google, and that budget typically to start, you can do it with around $1,000 a month. But of course, obviously the goal would be to then scale that because it is a great system when you can make it work for your business. So at $3,000 a month though, you're not running traditional Google ads yet, and that is entirely okay. The next scenario that I want to walk you through is the $5,000 a month contractor. So you're doing maybe 1 to 2 million and you want to grow faster. Same foundation as before, so all the stuff that we just talked about, but maybe a higher level of SEO, and that would get increased with more content, more service area pages, more blogs on your website, more aggressive link building. LSA, you can probably keep that where it's at. I would monitor that and see where you can increase, spend more over time. But this is where you'd also add in some stuff with Google Ads, maybe budgeting $2,000 a month on pay-per-click campaigns for your highest value services. And if you're a roofer, you're bidding on roof replacement and emergency roof repair as example type keywords, not roofing tips or DIY type stuff. And of course, you still need to be focused on your Google Business Profile. And then that third tier is the $10,000 a month contractor. You're trying to do between 2 to 5 million, and you're trying to dominate your market. And this is where things really do get fun. The SEO is going to stay the same as before. You're building out even more pages at a higher and quicker rate with higher quality. Maybe creating some video content. You're building serious authority. And then you're likely increasing your Google ad spend maybe to 3 to 4K a month. You're running campaigns for a single service line. And then you're also increasing your LSA. You're maximizing out your lead value, making sure that you're exhausting all of that stuff before doing anything else. And then the last thing is you're adding in retargeting, social media ads, and maybe some video marketing at around $1,000 to $1,500 a month. So now, after we talked about all that, I want to save you some money here as well. Because just as important of knowing where to spend your money is knowing where not to spend that money. So number 1, stop buying shared leads from Angie, Home Advisor, Thumbtack, and all of those lead gen platforms that are out there. I know they're easy. They send you a lead, you pay for it, but here's the problem. As you all know, the same lead will get sent to 3 or 4 other contractors at minimum. You're typically at a race to the bottom on price, and your close rate on those is terrible. You have to have a great back-end process and system in order to be able to make this work. I know companies that are massive that absolutely crush it on all these platforms, but their process and system-wise way ahead of where most people are at when they're typically on one of those lead platforms. I have clients that aren't doing everything else that we talked about, right? That have come to us before starting to work with us, who were previously spending $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a month on Angie leads and closing maybe 5% of them. We then have moved that budget into SEO and LSA and increased lead volume, but more importantly, increased profitability and increased actual job flow. Number 2 is boosted Facebook posts with no strategy. I see this all of the time, and I'm typically targeted or retargeted by a lot of contractors doing this. And I'm not even in their local market on Facebook, on Instagram. So a contractor posts a photo of a job, boosts it for $50, gets a bunch of likes from people who are never going to hire them, maybe not even in their marketplace or in their location, and then they call it marketing. That is not marketing. That is gambling money away, and really more importantly, just lighting it on fire. If you're going to run Facebook ads, you need proper targeting, a landing page, and a follow-up system. Otherwise, you might as well not even bother. And then number 3, there are a lot of low dollar amount entry-level SEO and website packages. And typically when it's that low, it means that it's either really, really bad, or you may not even own the website, as an example. And I don't say this to be mean. I say this because I've audited dozens and dozens of those websites recently, and they're literally doing nothing. They're submitting you to a couple of directories, maybe writing one blog that nobody reads, and sending you some type of report that looks impressive, but in reality means nothing. Real SEO that moves the needle costs real money, and I'm talking about a minimum of $1,500 a month for a contractor. If you're paying less than that, there's something behind the scenes that you don't know about. If somebody is charging you $200 a month, they're either doing nothing or they're doing something that unfortunately is going to hurt you long term. And then number 4 is print advertising. Now, I'm not talking about direct mail. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about magazines, random flyers that go out to all of these other places where you're one of 20 contractors that are on there. You know, the yellow pages, old style newspaper type of ads. In my opinion, and we own a roofing company now, and we've invested in some of those things just to try to get our name out there and test things out. They have the worst ROI of any channel for contractors. I'm not saying they're completely useless. And again, this is not talking about direct mail. But if you have a limited budget, digital is going to outperform print. Literally no questions asked. So you might as well invest your ad dollars there. All right, so now I want to give you a little cheat sheet. So here's what you should be focused on, and here's ultimately what that should actually look like. So we're going to go through, and you'll be able to see it, a recommended marketing allocation based on your overall annual revenue. So if you're doing $500,000 a year in revenue, or that's your goal, you should be spending between $2,500 to $4,000 a month. And that's typically, again, going to look like a focus on the Google business profile, a focus on LSA, and a focus on SEO. If you're doing $1 million in revenue, that should be between $4,000 to $7,000 a month. Everything that we talked about before, but adding in Google ads. $2 million in revenue, between $7,000 and $12,000 a month. That's everything we talked about. So you have the full channel mix plus some retargeting and remarketing. And at $3 million a year plus in revenue, you might be in that $12,000 to even $20,000 a month marketing spend. Now, again, that's not just talking about everything that we talked about here. That's your entire marketing budget as a whole. But that $3 million a year, you're dominating every channel. You're adding in video, you're adding in social, and we're talking about social, you're adding in an organic strategy too. These are not arbitrary numbers. This is what I actually see working across our client base and other successful contractors in the marketplace right now in 2026. So here's the deal. You can take everything I just showed you and go build your own marketing plan. Seriously, I just gave you the whole framework. Hopefully you've been paying attention. And if you want to go do this yourself, I absolutely recommend you go for it. But if you'd rather have a team that does this for contractors every single day, a team that already knows your industry, already has the playbooks, and already has the results to back it up, we would love the opportunity to talk with you. Click the link in the description to book a free strategy call. We'll take a look at your current marketing, do an audit. We'll take a look at your market, your competitors, and we'll build a custom budget recommendation. No pressure, no hard sell, just mathing with the math. And if this video is helpful, do me a quick favor. Hit that subscribe button, leave a comment, share this stuff on social media. I put out new content every single week specifically for contractors who want to grow their business with smart marketing. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.